Minasan, happy Halloween! Well, it's not for a few days, but it's one of my favorite holidays and I wanted to celebrate it early with you all. Today, I wanted to introduce a few Japanese yokai with everyone. Yokai is a term for a wide range of supernatural creatures, monsters, ghosts, ghouls, or demons in Japanese mythology. They can be both powerful and weak. They can be tricksters, good or bad. Some can bring good luck to people, and some can bring bad luck. There are actually so many different varieties of yokai in Japanese mythology, but today I wanted to go over 7 different well-known ones with you. I'll be introducing to you the Tengu, kappa, tanuki, kitsune, yuki-onna, kasaobake, and the oni. There are so many more types of yokai out there. Some of them are really interesting and some of them are just really weird, like the wanyudo. A wanyudo is a giant floating head trapped in a flaming wheel. It looks like this. It is said that a wanyudo will travel the roads between hell and this world, and anyone who sees one may have their souls stolen and dragged to hell with it. There's also a kind of scary story of a wanyudo, rolling through town, and there was a lady with a child in a house, and the lady actually opened the window to look at it, but you're actually supposed to close the windows and just kind of ignore it. But she looked at it, and the wanyudo looked back at her and said, and the lady looked back at the kid and she saw that her kid was torn apart, there's blood everywhere, its legs were missing, and it looked back at the wanyudo and saw that the wanyudo had her kid's legs in its mouth and it was chewing it. But anyways, there are some really gory and scary yokai folklore out there, but there's also some that are more lighthearted. Alright, so I'm gonna start introducing the 7 yokai. Let's start with the Tengu. There are 2 main types of Tengu. There's one where it's depicted as a red-skinned man with a long nose and wings called the Dai Tengu. Or one that is more crow-like in appearance with a head of a bird, such as the Karasu Tengu or Kotengu. So there's different ranks of Tengu, showing which one is more stronger than the other. They usually reside in mountains or forests. There are many different folklore regarding Tengu, but generally, they can shapeshift into humans or animals, teleport, or create powerful gusts of wind with their feather fans. In some stories, they can be protectors of the forests or mountains, but they are also known to play pranks on humans or even kidnap children. They can be very arrogant and conceited creatures as well. Because of this, there is a phrase in Japanese called Tengu ni naru, which means becoming a Tengu. This is used to describe people who are conceited or full of themselves. Tengu are also depicted in various Japanese anime and video games. If you watch Demon Slayer or Kimetsu no Yaiba, you'll notice that Uroko Daki-san's mask is a Tengu mask. Tengu are also used in Western games such as Guild Wars. If you play Dungeons & Dragons, you'll notice that there's a race called Kenku, and it's a form of a Karasu Tengu. Anyways, that's it for the Tengu. Okay, next we have the kappa. These are actually my favorite yokai. They are usually depicted as humanoid creatures that look like it's part turtle and frog. They usually reside in rivers or ponds. They absolutely love cucumbers and love to engage in sumo wrestling as well. There are many folklores where if you want to get a kappa to do something for you or to not eat you, you give it a cucumber. They are also tricksters and are malevolent creatures, but sometimes they can be helpful as well. They can be found playing pranks on humans, drowning them in rivers, kidnapping children, or even eating human flesh. That being said, the kappa can also be befriended if you give them a cucumber, because as I said earlier, they really love cucumbers. You're probably wondering what's this thing on their heads. They have a dent on their heads which has water in it. This is actually really important to know because one way of defeating a kappa is to trick it into bowing. When it bows, the water will spill out of its head and all of its power is drained, and in some cases they may even die from it. There are actually various depictions of the kappa as you've seen earlier, but in modern days they're drawn more to look really cute like a little mascot, and in some places they are the mascots of their town. Okay, that's it for the kappa. Next we have the tanuki. These are also my favorite yokai. In English, the tanuki is translated as Japanese raccoon dog. These are actually real animals that exist today, but there are many ancient myths and folklores about them. They are often depicted as being mischievous, jolly, gullible, or absent-minded. They're also often depicted as being drunkards. In real life, they are the cutest things. They look like a cross between a raccoon and a corgi. Aren't they so cute? Look at its little nose! Anyways, in Japanese folklore, well, they can be depicted as cute, but they can also be a bit dopey looking. If you've seen some anime or played some video games before, you'll probably notice that the tanuki appears quite often. There's actually a tanuki in Animal Crossing. His English name is Tom Nook, which is a play on words for tanuki. His Japanese name is Tanukichi. You also see that the tanuki appear in Nintendo's Super Mario games. Also, in the anime Brand New Animal, the main character is a tanuki herself. One of the most common traits of the tanuki is the ability to shapeshift. They are also able to transform objects into other objects to trick people with. One common story is that the tanuki will transform their poop into pieces of gold, and they trick people into buying things with them. And then, of course, later on, the fake pieces of gold will turn into poop. Okay, so we'll be moving on to our next yokai, which is a counterpart to the tanuki. Next, we have the kitsune. Kitsune is a Japanese word for fox. Like the tanuki, kitsune are real-life creatures, but they also have a lot of folklores and myth about them. Unlike the orange and black foxes that we are familiar with, the yokai kitsune are often depicted as yellow or white with red markings. And just like the tanuki, they have the ability to shapeshift into humans. They can also be tricksters, but are also depicted as guardians or gods in the Shinto religion. If you go to some Shinto shrines in Japan, you'll usually see a kitsune statue guarding the gates. Kitsune can also create illusions and strange lights called kitsunebi, or foxfire. They can possess, charm, and manipulate people. Just like the tanuki, you often see kitsune in Japanese anime or video games. There's Shippo from Inuyasha, Naruto's Kyuubi from Naruto, and there's even the counterpart and friend to the main character from Brand New Animal. In video games, you have Tails from Sonic the Hedgehog, and in Animal Crossing, you have Red, who is a counterpart to Tom Nook. While Tom Nook's Japanese name is Tanukichi, Red's Japanese name is Tsunekichi. Finally, both the tanuki and kitsune can be depicted with having a leaf on their head to help them shapeshift.